you, Brother Patrick. Isn't that beautiful, folks? I saw this for the first time yesterday, and I just said, wow. This is so good. This is a mural underway. It's been, it's probably about 98% finished. I'm just going to pan over real quick just to see where it is. This is the old Stewart-Bell baseball field. The Shreveport Captains used to play here. It's right behind Galilee Baptist Church, and it is amazing and more beautiful than ever. Come over, Rebecca, my friend Rebecca, muralist. Let's talk about the history, because you've been a part of this. You're one of the muralists that are painting this. I love the history that is on the wall. A lot of folks in town do not know this story.
I know. So you want to hear about C.C. Antoine?
Yes.
C.C. Antoine was a barber and a businessman in Allendale, but historically he was also part of a huge thing that happened in our government, Plessy v. Ferguson and the Supreme Court. He was a part of the Citizens Committee, which planned out a strategy to challenge the Louisiana Railroad Car Act, which separated black people and white people on
He basically was early. He's one of the pioneers of integration, essentially.
Absolutely.
So, and his home, I've even seen his home. He grew up right here in Shreveport. It's a great story.
Still in Allendale.
Deidre, come on over. This gives you an idea of the history that's on the wall here. These are some of the homes from Allendale, Deidre?
In the bottoms, yeah. These houses represent the bottoms.
We remember this. And, of course, that's the great singer, blues singer, Huddy Leadbelly, right there. So this mural is a history, African-American history in Shreveport.
Yes. And as the Race Commission, we felt that it was important that we do something that unified, brought our city together. And what better way to do that than art? Our city has a rich history that many of us are just not aware of. And this is a great way to come out and get started to learn.
Amen. Speaking of history that you're not aware of, I grew up here. I did not know about Cora Allen. Tell me real quick, Deidre, Cora Allen.
She was a businesswoman in the 20s. I'm not as familiar with a lot of the history of it, but I know that she was a local businesswoman in the 20s around here, right here in Shreveport.
There you go. All right, Pastor Wilson, Galilee Baptist Church, brother, come over.
Yes, sir.
You obviously believe in this. You think it's an important thing to do. Tell me why.
I think it was important for just everyone just to know the rich history of this community and this city. And I think this just tells a story. It captures everybody's attention from the youngest to the oldest. It kind of forces you to start talking about the individuals that's on here. So it's really doing, what it was intended to do already. And that's just tell the history of Shreveport, Louisiana, and more specifically Lakeside Allendale.
Opening up conversations. That can never be a bad thing. It's beautiful, by the way, folks. And they will unveil this officially Saturday morning from 10 to noon. You can be a part of this. And by the way, in addition to the professional artists, and there have been probably half a dozen of those, several hundred folks, just folks who wanted to be a part of this, have contributed as well. Beautiful mural about to be unveiled outside, right behind the Galilee Baptist Church. More news and weather coming up right after this. Thank you, brother. It is a beautiful morning. Now, again, folks, it's July, okay? You know what that means. Hot, humid, and it is this morning. But don't you love that? It's beautiful sunrise. And don't you love this? I saw this for the first time yesterday, and I was blown away. This is a mural. In fact, it's the longest mural in town, over 400 feet long. They've been working on this thing since June. And it's just amazing. They will unveil it officially this weekend. It's really a history of the African-American experience in Shreveport.
I want them to see hope, and I want them to feel, more importantly, proud of their city. This mural tells a story of the history of these neighborhoods.
The history of the Lakeside, Allendale, and Ledbetter Heights. The story starts from Africa and moves into the Juneteenth era, the emancipation and freedom, all the way into the local Shreveport history C.C. Antoine, people like Pastor Harry Blake, Cora M. Allen, Dr. C.O. Simpkins, Pastor E. Edward Jones came and fought for basic human rights.
I see black people walking along the wall and getting emotional just looking at all the history and truth on it, and white people learning, about history that they didn't know anything about.
First of all, this wall was blank. There was nothing here. And so we want to put some beautiful work on the wall, have people talk about it, and while they're looking at it, they'll learn something about the community. And so our goal is to have people start conversations, learn a little bit about their history, and share it with people.
We keep the article of Lead Belly around to learn about him, to transfer the energy of him into the artwork. It's to be able to embody his spirit.
I think people have lost sight of what community means, and so I think it's a call to action to remember that we're all each other's neighbors and we need to look out for each other.
I want them to see the beauty of it, but I also want them to feel like they're a part of the community of Shreveport. I really want this to engage people in thinking about how we are one community. We just don't know each other very well.
And folks, they start early. I tell you what, in this heat you have to. There have been probably about half a dozen professional muralists working on the painting, the mural. Of course, he's perfecting that great man right there. He was the pastor of Galilee Baptist Church for so many decades in town, the great E. Edward Jones, and this will be forever, or at least as long as the paint stays on the wall. It's a beautiful thing. By the way, they will unveil it officially this Saturday morning from 10 to noon right here at the Stewart-Bell Stadium behind the Galilee Baptist Church. Nate Luana, heading back to you.
I love what she had to say right there. We're all one community. We just don't know each other very well.
Yeah, so let's cross those lines. Let's come together. And I love what the other gentleman said. I think it was the pastor of Galilee, saying that this is a conversation starter. You're going to look at it and start to ask questions, and that's the beautiful part.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Rick Rowe. It's a beautiful sunrise, still a little warm, but I wanted you to see this because it is worth seeing, folks. It is something to be proud of. This is a beautiful mural. Let me tell you where we are. This is the Stewart-Bell baseball stadium. This is the old stadium where the Shreveport Captains used to play back in the day. It's behind Galilee Baptist Church, and now it is the longest mural ever painted in Shreveport. It's beautiful. Let's just walk and talk. Deidre, I know you're with the commission that decided we needed to do something like this. Tell me why.
We needed to do something like this because we wanted to educate our city on the rich history right here in Shreveport. Shreveport gets a bad rap, but we have a rich history. There are a lot of good things going on around here. You just got to look and find it.
And speaking of history that maybe a lot of people don't know, this flag
is the Juneteenth flag, and more people should know that. This is the Juneteenth flag.
How about that?
Slaves were finally emancipated 2 years later.
Right.
And these women, beautiful women, celebrating and dancing in celebration of their freedom.
Yep. And then this guy, C.C. Antoine. Some people know, a lot of people don't. This guy was one of the most successful food merchants back in the day, turn of the century. Very, very successful. Grew up right here in town. Then became a lieutenant governor and really was one of the early. Some of his work led to Plessy versus Ferguson, which led to integration in the 1950s. Very important historic figure. And that is, oh, look at this. Now, if you grew up here, if you know anything at all about the history of Shreveport, you know about, these are the homes. Yeah, the Bottoms. Come over, Pastor Wilson. Tell me about the Bottoms, my brother.
Yes, sir. The Bottoms, of course, Bottoms has a rich history, and I'm talking about way before the 80s, right? With you got Mr. Ledbetter and just some of it's where African Americans really thrived.
Huddy Ledbetter was a very well-known blues singer, guitarist. He had some big hits. And then this story, I love this. Rebecca, come over and tell me about this lady. I thought I knew all the history in town. I was wrong. Cora Allen.
Cora Allen was a businesswoman in Shreveport in the 1920s. She designed and had built the Calanthian Temple. She traveled all over the world talking about civil rights and women's rights.
Amazing. And there she is, forever depicted. And, of course, the idea for this, obviously, is that we want it to be, Deidre, I'm going to finish with you, a conversation starter. We want folks to come out. We want young African Americans to learn their history.
That's right.
But you're inviting everybody to see this.
That's right, because it's history. It's our history. It's relevant for us all. We've brought kids out. We've brought all kind of people out to be a part of this history, but we all need to know this history. It's important.
It is. It's a beautiful. By the way, it's really well done, folks. They did just the professionalism here, the excellence here is impressive. There's the great E. Edward Jones. I'm going to wrap it up here by telling you that you can come out and see it officially in its official unveiling on Saturday morning between 10 and noon. There's the great E. Edward Jones. It's a beautiful new mural, the longest one ever in Shreveport. Let me show you the length of it. At the old Stewart-Bell baseball stadium behind Galilee Baptist Church. Oh, by the way, they're about to start a little baseball thing here at Galilee. They're going to revive the old stadium. Come see it, the unveiling this Saturday morning.